This is Show Up as a Leader, a show from People Forward Network, helping you maximize your positive impact on the world by becoming your best, fully authentic self.
Hey everyone, it's Rosie. I'm super excited to have my friend Chris Johnson bring her new series, The Leadership Pause, to the show. In this series, Chris is going to unpack what it means to be fully human and access the best of who we are as leaders. And each episode is going to include stories, what she refers to as nerd science, which just is music to my ears. And she will always give a deliberate practice that we can try on at the end and apply so that we can show up as more embodied learners and leaders in our life. Take a listen.
Resourcing energy renewal in nature. When's the last time you intentionally ventured into nature for renewal, or maybe even thought about it? I was lucky to have been raised on a Midwestern gentleman's farm. My sister and I had plenty of fresh air, trees to climb, and stars to gaze upon in the black night sky. My parents had built an extraordinary home, nestled in the green valley a quarter mile off the main road. A strong German Lutheran work ethic circled the perimeter of our lives, not unlike the fences that cordoned off the farm. As kids, we had the freedom to wander outside all day and discover new universes each evening. Living in the country with a big open sky opened up all kinds of possibilities to dream about the future. You'd often find my sister and me playing in the creek that snaked through our property. We'd find interesting rocks, even arrowheads, in the stream beds. I loved exploring the creek barefoot, looking for interesting objects, feeling the squish in my toes, watching the animals, and of course, splashing my sister. I learned early how life's wisdom emerges from nature. Connection. The venerable oak tree that sits at the end of the long, winding driveway is well over 200 years old. Its acorns topped with bristly hucks like rustic woolen ski caps. The oak tree provided shelter from the gusty winter winds and shade in muggy dog days of August. It was my constant companion growing up. Waiting for the bus, I'd follow the grooves of the deeply textured grayish bark and feel into the livingness of this tree, the one I long ago had claimed as my own. My beloved tree appeared to quietly witness my private thoughts. When troubled, I'd find my way to the big bur oak tree. That tree, my tree, became a regulating force in my own life. You see, while the country was a terrific place to grow up, home life was not always terrific. Given the tension and lack of harmony in my childhood household, it's no surprise that I found solace in nature. Given how important emotional regulation is to our day-to-day life, not to mention our leadership, time with my tree offered more than comfort. It offered me its own stability, strength, and fortitude, energetic qualities that I needed even though I couldn't have said it at the time. I knew the tree was solidly connected to the earth and that it would take something absolutely catastrophic to harm the tree. I needed something that could protect me too. Knowing the tree's strength, I could literally lean into the oak and I could begin to relax. By tuning into the sounds and the sensations of nature all around me, the wind, the rustling of leaves, the birds chirping, I could settle my nervous system, my racy thoughts, my sad and very confused heart. Highly intelligent and efficient, our bodies are a source of learning, mood, connection, and dignity. The father of American psychology, William James, wrote about the importance of the body this way, quote, "The body is the storm center, the origin of coordinates, the constant place of stress in our experience train. Everything circles around it and is felt from its point of view. The world experience comes at all times with our body as its center of vision, center of action, center of interest. Our bodies are actually the center of it all. We're designed in such a way, our bodies, to ensure that each of us acquires what we need to survive and make the necessary complex adaptations without needing to stop each time to rethink a situation. Remember homeostasis from last month, right? At the time, when I was a kid, I didn't realize that's exactly what I was doing, resetting and regulating my nervous system. I just knew that I was drawn to my tree, and quite literally hanging out with her, notice it's a her, I could absorb the tree's stability, strength, and fortitude. I was experiencing the refreshing, re-energizing effects of nature on my biological system. We need more of this connection with nature today, I think for three very distinct reasons. One, we're increasingly alienated from our own body's natural rhythms. Do you know yours? Two, there's evidence that climate change is contributing to devastating weather events that not only have big economic impacts, but according to Clayton Altern, it's making us paranoid, anxious, and angry. Three, these emotions, in turn, if left unregulated, or worse, they grow, negatively impact our relationships and our conversations, both of which are required, of course, to get work done out in the world. Instead, we become disconnected, even alienated from ourselves and one another. This has resulted in an epidemic of loneliness. Among those who reported feeling lonely the previous day, in a 2023 study, 67% also experienced anger much of that same day, compared to 11% of those who weren't lonely or angry. Additionally, 62% of lonely respondents felt significant worry the previous day. Nature, as my bur oak tree, can help. Alienation. The symptoms of our alienation from nature are evident everywhere. Just think about it. We're immersed in artificial environments constructed of metal, asphalt, glass, and plastic all day long. How often do our daily interactions actually involve trees, rivers, soil, plants, wildlife, or clouds? We tend to run from the rain, curse the heat and cold, cower as storms approach, and avoid dark forests because the boogeyman could be there. We tend to not like soil, yet as any gardener or naturalist will tell you, soil is the building block for nature that grounds our very being. Spoiler alert, I'm a gardener. When we lose touch with nature, we lose touch with our deepest self. Instead, we interact frequently with cell phones, computers, televisions, tablets that offer us simulations of nature and connection. Think Nature Channel. But we only have the illusion that we're receiving the benefits of what we stream and scroll. As a result, real nature, actually being in nature, can seem foreign and foreboding. We feel numb and disconnected from ourselves and life. We're at odds with ourselves. Instead, we regard our cars, our houses, our offices, all artificial habitats, by the way, as home, while the out of doors is perceived as out there and not an integral aspect of our own lives. In his new book, The Weight of Nature, the neuroscientist turned journalist Clayton Altern writes about the impact of climate change on what he calls direct interventions of environmental change on the brain. Quote, "It is the job of your brain to model the world as it is," writes Altern, "and the world is mutating. We are mutating with it." He argues that we're becoming more suspicious, angry, paranoid, anxious, depressive, distracted. Yet not all of us and not all the time. Some respond, as Altern instructs his readers to do, with greater empathy, resilience, and collective action. But that, according to him, is just another kind of mutation, an antibody response. This great transformation, according to him, is already shaping our inner lives in ways that we're only beginning to comprehend. Climate change, he says, isn't only here, it is inside us. Antidote. Yes, nature is inside us. In fact, we are nature, period. Life flows through us, as in the trees, the rivers, and the meadows. And in our busy modern lives, a big antidote to today's angst is to practice tuning into that life energy in nature. And since leaders go first, you can set the tone by first engaging more with nature yourself, so you're well-regulated and well-resourced. And then you can encourage others to do the same. If we allow ourselves to experience nature's energy moving through us, we can learn the wisdom needed for the moment at hand, like I did with my tree. So start connecting with nature today. Better breathing, more restful sleep, significant improvements in mood, reduced anxiety, increased resilience, even joy, not to mention better relationships, can be yours starting today. The benefits are critical to the well-being of ourselves, our communities, and the planet. As always, I promise to share a practice. Here it is. Be a tree. My invitation to you is to take on this practice, be curious, learn, and apply that learning to your leadership and life. In today's modern world, we tend to deal with what's scary and uncomfortable through our intellectual understanding. Yet we all know that emotions are not our intellect. Emotion is energy in motion. Emotions aren't concepts, but are experiences. We tend to mentally and emotionally absorb the energies all around us, like anxiety about the climate, or the bad energy of the bully at work, or the sadness around us post-COVID. It's important to choose to deliberately absorb qualities and attributes, akin to setting boundaries, we can use, like I did with my tree, from the natural world. Stability, security. For the practice this month, identify and experience a feeling that you'd like to work with. Maybe you're anxious or fearful, or you're wanting more settledness and joy. Either way, go ahead, choose an experience, an emotional experience, a feeling that you'd like to work with. Next, spend some time reflecting on these 3 questions. This might be the time to jot in your notebook. 1. What plant, animal, or object in nature comes closest to depicting your current emotion or experience? Like when I needed stability and strength with my tree. 2. If your feeling were a time of day, what time would it be and why? 3. If your feeling were a type of weather, what would it be? Stormy, calm, breezy, light. After you've answered the questions above, determine the characteristic you would like to absorb, such as joy or stability or courage or clarity. Then seek a natural entity, like a tree, a flower, maybe a lake or an ocean, a mountain, a field, anything that appears to embody the qualities that you're seeking. Then go out in nature and, to the degree physically possible, blend with that entity. Become a tree, an ocean or a lake, a mountain. Be as vast as the ocean, as solid as the mountain. Assume the characteristics and behavior and be like those elements in nature. Yeah, you'll feel a little goofy. That's okay. You're experimenting, working with yourself, and letting nature work with you. And while you're at it, this is extremely important. Do your best to set aside your thinking, your analysis of the situation, and certainly the self-consciousness that arises when we take on being a tree or a mountain or a lake. Simply allow yourself to blend with these natural experiences like a kid would do through your sense faculties, absorbing through touch and sight and hearing and smelling and sound. Continue to blend until you feel some change and shift in your mood, your mental state, or behavior. And of course, be willing to be surprised at what you learn. Lastly, take a moment to pause and offer gratitude to nature, to our Mother Earth. I'd love to hear from you because I'm interested to know what opens up for you as you take yourself on in this nature-inspired way. As you can imagine, we're only just scratching the surface of nature-inspired connection. In the show notes, it'll take you to my website if you like, or you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. There's so much more to cover on this topic, some of which I cover in my book, The Leadership Pause, that you can find on Amazon or at your favorite bookseller. And you can also head over on my website, q4-consulting.com/leadership advantage quiz to get a better feel for how your energy is showing up in your leadership. And as we sign off today, remember that when we're attuned to the moment at hand, as a biological being in nature, present to whatever it holds, we can make our best contributions. This is power.
I'm Rosie Ward, and this is Show Up as a Leader. To learn more, head over to peopleforwardnetwork.com and, of course, hit that follow button.